Let's see.
Since you have the headset in, I'm not going to be able to hear
It says it's started, but I don't see it. Is it up?
Does it show started on yours, Heather?
Not yet.
Not yet. Heather says not yet on her side.
Yeah, the screen definitely says live up there in the corner. I'm gonna go check on.
We're up now. We're up. It just happened.
Oh man, I hate when that happens.
Yeah. There you are. Okay. Yeah, it's working now.
Beware.
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 Away. Okay. No more talking about mean things.
Oh, come on! I thought that's what you invited me to do.
Quit making fun of me, Kusko.
Yeah. I had him crying a second ago.
There we go.
Let me.
We're up.
I guess I should start off by saying that if you ever see me talking crap about anybody in public.
Wait, Joel's in an AEP shirt?
Heather, they can all hear you.
Speaking of which.
Yeah, dude. Where's the Triple B? Heather, go get my mini Triple B shirt, the one that shrunk.
Oh, you got the early version, huh?
I did. It went from like a large to like extra small. I can't even put it on without being like fat man in a little suit.
I wish I could say I did that on purpose.
It's cool. Heather rocks it now, so you're getting much better, advertising with her wearing it.
Way better corner, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, speaking of talking crap about people, if you ever see me talking crap about anybody in public, online, especially in text, like in text-based form, it's only because I love that person a lot. I will never talk crap about somebody in text online unless it's because I think very highly of them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just to be clear, just because I think some people sometimes, I've gotten some messages like, just wait till I get over that. I've gotten some messages about it. And I'm like, oh, sorry. Hold on a second.
Yeah. I like it. Or now you've tricked us, and now we know you can talk crap about people freely, and then now we'll just assume that you actually really like us.
Right. I really like everybody.
Yeah. There we go.
I love you too, Kusko.
Hey.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you guys for having me on. Most people, this will probably be my last time on, I'm assuming, based on other previous interviews have gone with other people. I've been on lots of different interviews once.
Right. Yeah. No. Well, yeah. We just kind of felt obligated to invite you. So you're probably right. Yeah. Probably won't make that.
This is the obligatory have Brian on your show and then never do that again, please.
Yeah, exactly. Just shut her down right after that.
Smart.
There's no way we can hang it back there, huh?
Oh,
there we go. I'll wrap you, brother.
That was your shirt?
Yeah, this was my shirt. Wow. I almost cut it into a tank top. I think I should.
That's shrunk a lot.
I'm rocking your hat, to be fair. You, Joel, I don't know what you're doing wearing that ugly ass shirt, bro. But
hey, here's the thing. Your shirt of mine that I have is signed by the Trailer Park Boys now. If you've ever watched Trailer Park Boys, it's signed by all of them because I was wearing it when I went to one of their shows, and I was like, I didn't have anything to sign. I just gave them your shirt, so they signed that. That's
fantastic, man. This is actually, I don't really wear hats much, like at all, but this hat for some reason, like I like it a lot. I do wear it. I mean, the fact that it's got your logo and that I like you is a big bonus, but it's just like, I like the way it looks. It feels good. I mean.
Yeah, I feel like those hats fit really well, really well. Like I'd wear just those hats by themselves. But,
wait a second. I don't have a hat. I feel very left out right now.
Joel doesn't have a hat on either.
No, I mean, I don't have a State 48 hat. I feel very left out.
Yeah, well.
I go hang out with Jimmy at Ball Life like on a regular basis, and it seems like everybody he knows except for me has one of his sweatshirts now.
Yeah, Miguel just got a bunch of those.
Yeah, I know. I was pissed.
All right, well, you want to get started here?
Oh, I thought we were started.
Yeah, this is the early morning.
We're almost done.
Yeah. No. Whoa, we got so much to do tonight. It's great.
Hold on a second.
Okay, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. All right, I'm really ready.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have you just tell everybody who you are that already knows who you are, and then you can just talk about maybe I don't know who you are, what you like why you like snakes.
Tell the people who already know who I am.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do
And, you know, and Joel, actually, we may have a bunch of new viewers because Kusko brings such a strong game that there's a possibility nobody knows who we are, right? So, you know, I think maybe
yourselves. Let's do that. I like to reverse roll.
Yeah. So, Joel, go ahead. Who are you?
Oh, we should have Kusko interview us. Is what you
I'm terrible. I'm terrible at interviewing people. Mainly because I don't usually have many questions to ask. I'm really good at answering questions. I like to think I love when people ask me questions. It gives me something to talk about. But maybe my style of interviewing people does work because I prefer to let them talk rather than me talk. I try to talk a little. I don't try to talk as little as possible in interviews when I'm interviewing somebody else, but I do let them talk a lot. I try to ask the right questions to get them talking. Sometimes I've done interviews where I ask a person one question and I'll get 45 minutes of whatever they have to say.
Right.
It's just my personal style. It's how I like to do it. I'm interviewing somebody because I want to hear what they have to say. So that's just what I do. And it works well because I'm not the most eloquent of speakers at times.
No.
No, it's true. It's true. Okay, let me start at the beginning. I feel like you guys asked me to do something I haven't done yet. My name is Brian Kusko. I am a snake enthusiast. I have a YouTube channel called Triple B TV and a vlog channel called Brian Kusko, Kusko, pronounced Kusko. Never Kusko unless you want to get on my really bad side or my cousin's really bad side. I'm okay with it so much. My cousin. And that's basically how these guys came to bring me here is because I have a channel, and Joel is actually one of the first people to get snakes that I produced, and I have the mother right here who I feel I should show off real quick. This is clown-pied female. It goes by the name of the Queen, and she's actually kind of my introduction into the morph side of snakes, the morph keeping side of the hobby. This was a snake I got from Colette Sutherland and Dan and Colette Sutherland over at TSK, and I picked her up at the Pomona show the first time I went to the Pomona show ever. And it was also the first reptile show, period, I had gone to in my life somehow.
Man, talk about a pickup to your first one.
This was the fifth snake I picked up, but the first one where I'd actually gotten serious about the potential of breeding these snakes and being really into the morphs. And I used only my eyes. That was all the research I did was eye research. So when I went to go, I didn't see how much she was before I made the decision I really wanted that snake. And when I found out, I was like, oh man, how is that going to happen?
Yeah, that's a great start. I mean, that snake is insane, obviously.
Yeah, I've got your brother. So Joel, if you guys don't know, Joel picked up two of her offspring from the first clutch she ever laid. And this is the brother of one of the guys you got over there, Joel. And he's just going into shed, but
that was mine. Yeah.
This is coral glow pied, 100% het for clown. Male.
Man, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty.
I'm pretty stoked on all of it. Super stoked.
Heck yeah. That's such an amazing project you guys are working on. I mean, the clown pied stuff's very, very cool. Love it.
It's fun. It's definitely fun.
Yeah. It's two of my favorite genes in one snake.
I don't see comments here. Sorry, I don't see. I see you guys, of course, but I'm not seeing comments. I guess I need to pull it up.
Your hangout.
Yeah, if you have if you have a computer by you, then tap into the YouTube, and then you can see them. That's the one bad thing about the Hangouts that we're using is we don't see the YouTube comments while we're chatting.
It's usually like on mine, it pulls up in front of the browser, so I have to move this over and then bring that browser up.
Are you fancy and you have two monitors? Is that what's going on?
Oh yeah. That also helps because I have now the YouTube on the other monitor. So then I have you guys here, and then I can read the comments, kind of.
Hey, but to get along with it, to introduce myself as well. Honestly, like I was saying to some of the viewers that we have out there that haven't tapped into any of these other interviews that we've done. My name is Adam. and I'm BeachBum Exotics on Instagram and getting YouTube up and started and on Facebook as well. I've been primarily messing with ball pythons and some other species, and that's a quick little intro for me. And Joel, over to you, sir. I guess before we kick off some of these good questions you got.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm Joel. Stay for getting but yeah, I just really like ball pythons and I really like hanging out. So pretty good mix right here doing these live feeds. So that works out pretty good for us. And we're lucky enough to snag Brian. He ditched us on our usual Wednesday night, but we made do and brought him over on Thursday. And I know you guys are all upset, but it's the best we could do. He's a kind of a celebrity. So
we could have done next Wednesday. That was definitely 100% my fault. I completely forgot that we were taking the family out to the Christmas fair, and which is awesome. And if you watch the vlog channel, you'll see it very soon. It's a really sweet, amazing thing. They set up these lights. They start setting up in the beginning of September, and it's just incredible. And I completely forgot I was taking the family there. And unfortunately, that trumps everything else that I've ever planned.
Yeah.
Family's number one, man. Always, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay. So just to kind of kick it off, we usually I feel like we talk about a lot of like the business aspects and then we kind of work our way into like some breeding stuff and things like that. But so I guess just to kick it off, where do you feel like the market's at, you think, in the next 3-4 years? Do you think we'll see a shift towards more hobbyist style breeders, like the boutique breeders, or do you think there's going to be still a push towards like, the big time breeders, that are actually putting out a lot of animals every year and stuff like that?
I would definitely say hobbyist side. I mean, the big time breeders are already there and have been doing it, and I think will continue to do it. Again, I'm not necessarily the most qualified person to answer this question because I'm basically a noob when it comes to the market and the hobby. I'm not experienced. Just because I've been keeping snakes since I was a little kid, I had no exposure to this whole business side of the hobby or even the hobby itself. I was just like a lone kid keeping snakes in my own little world. That being said, I think everything's growing. I think there'll be some people that are hobbyists now that are growing into bigger things that will become big breeders. And there are definitely going to be more hobbyist breeders coming out. And also just people keeping in general. I think there are many industries in this world and they're all growing. The population on Earth is constantly growing every day. So everything out there is growing, with the exception of small things that are getting canceled out by technology, like magazines and newspapers. That's probably not a booming industry right now, of course. But everything else, animal keeping, especially hobby and specialized type of industries, those are growing because people have more free time on their hands because of technology, and they're finding more ways to fill their time with things they enjoy. And so the hobby side is definitely going to keep growing. It is growing right before our eyes, and it's going to continue to grow, barring some kind of cataclysmic, world-changing event.
Yeah, and which in that case, we won't really care about the hobby side or the larger side growing. We'll be caring about
where's the water at and where can I get some food to eat. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That won't be a worry. So that question, I always think of that too when I think about, where do I think it's going to go? And I'm like, well, barring any like asteroid hitting and stuff like that, we should be good. And then I always think, well, why did that even matter if an asteroid hit?
And also, I think there are a lot of people on the hobby side that I've seen a couple comments in the last couple of weeks of people wondering, is everybody a breeder now? Does anybody just keep snakes to keep snakes? And I think that is coming from a place where it's a social media platform, a YouTube platform, where a lot of the people on social media and YouTube especially are there to kind of start growing a little mini hobby business. And, anybody who has any sense about them knows that they need to get some exposure if they're going to have any success at that at all. And so the people that are planning to breed and are going to have animals they need to move are starting to do that. So that's what everybody sees. Not necessarily that only everybody that's getting into it is breeding. I think just the people that are getting into breeding are also starting YouTube channels or getting onto different social media platforms to get some exposure. Whereas somebody who's not necessarily worried about that isn't going to be out there. So you don't see it as much. But there are people out there. Two of the 3 animals I've sold in the past week and a half went to people who are keeping as a pet, not who are planning to breed ever in their lifetime.
Right. Yeah.
So those people, that's the meat, I'd say, of the industry is kids, or people that, not just kids, but people who are keeping just to keep, not to breed. That's something that Jay Summers pointed out to me at the last time when I interviewed him. And I was like, that makes sense. Just because we're in our own little bubble here of people who are breeding, and we're all in this little circle of, you know, keeping lots of snakes in racks and breeding. That's not the majority of the reptile keeping world, I think.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I would agree to that. I would agree to that. Yeah, was that the video where he was talking about the morphs and the prices getting too high that nobody will be able to afford a pet anymore? Was that the same interview?
I don't recall him saying that specific thing.
Didn't know, like
yeah,
the crux of the hobby isn't the, you know, $4,000 morphs. It's you know, the pet side of it and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was a good interview with him because, I mean, he did touch on a lot of important points with that too. I mean, much the same like with information sharing and, you know, social media, Facebook and Instagram and even YouTube has taken over like the forums, right? Like just even a few years ago, like 5 years ago, the forums were kind of the hot thing, and that's where information was exchanged. That's where you met people. That's even how you even got like cool snakes into certain projects, and that's even changed, right, as everything continues on. So yeah, that was a great interview. For anybody that hasn't checked it out, go head over to Brian's channel because that interview was a good one. So
yeah, it was really good. Yeah.
Thanks. Big shout out to Mr. Summers for that. He's bred probably more species in captivity than I think anybody else, at least in the States. Definitely in the States, I would say he's bred more species in captivity than anybody else, I think, as far as reptiles go.
That's amazing to me. I mean, I love ball pythons. I love the morphs and getting to mix everything and seeing what else we can create. But when you meet somebody like that, that just has been keeping and successfully breeding a whole plethora of different, you know, species, like I just love tapping into their mind for just 5 seconds, right? And getting their perspective on things because it's very unique and different. So,
and that's a big part of the meat of the people I want to try and interview are people that have this knowledge or have this, like people like Eugene, who was on the last interview. He's rarely even on any interviews. You know, he's been on a couple podcasts from, I know, but he doesn't have hardly any social media presence, you know, and those are the people that I really am driven towards getting interviews of, people who have a lot to offer, but just aren't on any kind of platform that a lot of people are paying attention to currently, you know, like YouTube or Facebook, and kind of get what they have to offer out there so that more people can hear it. That's a big goal of mine with these interviews. And speaking of the other side, of the opposite of breeding side is the scientific side. I've made friends there recently through Cal Poly. I went there to have some gopher snakes stitched up by a lady named Dr. Emily Taylor, and she's a herpetology professor there. And she also has a program. If anybody's watched this video, you should, if you haven't. It's called The Girls Who Hunt Rattlesnakes, something like that. It's on my vlog channel. And yeah, and these girls are awesome. They're out there doing scientific research with rattlesnakes out there on the coast. Some beautiful rattlesnakes with beautiful scenery, and if for the footage and scenery alone, it's worth it. But there's this whole other side of the hobby that in our circle here, our breeding and keeping side is not part of the scientific side. And as much as I see like the hobby attacking itself sometime, it's nothing, I think, compared to what the scientific side views as the hobby and breeding side of it. These guys on the scientific side of the community are like, leave them in the wild, research them, learn about them, appreciate them, but don't breed them. So there's people who really love and appreciate snakes and reptiles that it's just a whole one. I really want to get into interviewing people on that side of the spectrum and getting what they have to say heard too, and help
totally
bring everybody together. The goal, the main end goal of everything I'm really trying to do is get as many people as possible onto the same platform so we can move forward with stuff and elevate everybody up, whether or not we have the exact same ideals on breeding or keeping or racks or tanks or all these different, you know, controversial issues that people are at odds at, and realize that we all really just have this great love and appreciation for reptiles and amphibians and creepy crawly things that most of the world doesn't enjoy. And
yeah, we're a small subset, and then we're almost segregating ourselves within our subset.
Yeah, which I guess is human nature to an extent, but
right.
The more we can get past that, I think the better, not just for our own community and hobby, but for the entire community of the world, you know, because it's a growing world, and the more we become separated, the closer we'll come to creating our own worldwide catastrophe, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And too, like to touch on that is they have, they have a lot of insights into like, specifics on how to care for things. And it would be nice for some cross play there because that could help out both sides of the community as well.
Yeah, because they're always out in the field observing these animals in their wild habitat, learning constantly new things about them every day. I mean, it was just recently discovered that rattlesnakes are way more social than anybody ever gave them credit for. Like mothers will actually defend their babies and like that, which is they're much more social than we ever gave them credit for, due to these scientific studies that are coming out. People are not in the field and researching.
Yeah, I think it was timber rattlesnakes that I read an article. It was just probably like 6 months ago, and they had done a study out there on the specific colony, if that's the right word. I don't want to sound like an expert over here or anything like that, but basically they determined the same thing where there were offspring from multiple mothers hanging out in the dens, and the males were kind of running perimeter defense, where if some of the young got out of the holes too soon, they would corral them back in. And it was kind of a whole community effort. I mean, there's not too many other snake species out there that I've kind of read data like that on. And that's amazing to me. But we would only know that because these guys are out in the field and doing it day in, day out. And so merging our two hobbies, or two sides of the hobbies together, is, I think, like you're saying, that's going to be the sweet spot right there, because we're going to encounter some really good knowledge from both sides. And hey, they might not agree with us just breeding things a lot and creating new things, but at the same time, they can learn from us, right? So what we're doing is invaluable as well. And I love that about like Tracy and Dave Barker. If anybody out there hasn't read The Ark yet, pick that up. I mean, it's super cheap and such a great read. And it really goes into what we do as captive keepers and breeders and herpetoculturists. So for sure, man.
Yeah, I've never read that book, but I've heard about it a lot. It should be something I read for sure.
Yeah, it's a cheap read. I mean, they want to get it out there, so it's worth the pickup for sure. And get it from Dave and Tracy, so that way Amazon doesn't get their buck either.
Amazon's definitely got plenty of bucks these days.
Exactly.
Okay, so speaking of all of that, and you kind of mentioned you were new in the market and stuff like that, but you have been around a pretty big force over there at Freedom Breeder. So I had a question for you. Just being over there, and it's kind of a weird question, but
who is that? Oh, it's Barchek. Dude, tell him to wait his turn. No, I'm just joking.
All right, so can you help us, because you've been doing like the ID videos? Is there any like cool target areas to look at, just at like if you thought maybe something was there? Do you usually look for like head pattern or side pattern, or what's you think the biggest tells are? If you can answer that.
I haven't looked into that at all. I mean, I've obviously filmed Jesse doing stuff, and I've learned a lot about identification just by watching him do that and being there, listening to what he's saying, and then looking at it myself and thinking about what I would say to explain it. I think I would learn a lot more if I started doing some of my own, where I'm trying to explain to other people. I've always found that the best way to learn something is to try and teach it, because then you have to know what you're talking about. And
right.
But I don't have a good answer to your question, because I haven't done a lot of looking into what it would be. But every day that goes by, especially doing this stuff with Jesse, which if you guys that are watching haven't checked out the Freedom Breeder channel yet, you should go check it out. Another episode just went live as we went live here. And Jesse's getting a lot better on camera and explaining the morphs and whatnot. But it's the whole combo, I think. There's things I've listened to Kyle Hoffman over at Royal Ambassador Reptiles, and he spent so much time poring over all the little tiny details of what the characteristics are for a morph, way more so than Jesse or anybody else I've met for that matter. And he's able to pick out like what's a leopard pied versus not a leopard pied based on some coloring around the lips or this certain thing over here. And so I think it's the whole combo. I don't think there's one thing. I don't think it's just the alien heads or just the pattern or just the head stamp. It's the little combo of everything. And then how they're going to interact with other things, which is why people put things to other morphs to try and see how they'll interact with that other morph, to see if it's maybe related or allelic to yellow belly, which is a huge complex right now. All these different yellow belly combos are huge, and it's such a subtle morph on its own, but it brings so much to the table. I think a lot of Justin's stuff, who's in my opinion has the best vision for breeding morphs out there today. Just like he realizes that he sees like the little tiny intricacies that a morph has to offer and tries to bring that into certain spots, because it like in the big picture it creates this amazing looking animal.
Right.
I think I just jumped all around your question there.
No, because it is. I think it's a holistic approach. I don't think there really is a target area. I just, it's something that I think a lot of people sort of
the belly, the last third of the belly. That's where you got to look.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. So the last third, I'll remember that here in the future for that. Okay. So moving right along into
especially when it comes to recessive traits, the last third of the belly area.
Right. Yeah. The last third is recessive trait tails.
I really have no idea what I'm talking about almost ever. That's something I will readily admit. I just enjoy making videos and doing what I do and being able to bring these voices to people who I think need them. That's I think where I think I shine, and that's what I have to offer this industry. I'm not a scientist. I haven't been studying a certain species for years and years where I can offer this information to people that is beneficial. My contribution to this hobby industry is, I think what I'm doing is making the videos. That's I think it's my strongest thing to offer. So that's what I'm trying to focus on the most, is really honing that craft.
Right. Yeah, that was kind of an interesting take. What do you bring, I guess, to the industry? And I like that a lot. I agree. You bring information together. You're almost like a search engine almost. You can go to any one of your videos and you can get something out of it from usually a professional. And that's what's really cool about your channel in general.
Yeah, it's definitely gone that way, especially with Triple B TV. I mean, obviously the vlog is just like public diary of kids going crazy half the time.
Oh, is that them tromping around up there?
That's them. They're tackling each other on the floor right now.
Dude, I love your kids, man. They're so much fun to watch.
Yeah, yeah, but on the Triple B TV side, I feel a little bit bad because it originally started as like a snake, like informational channel, but I feel there's so many other channels out there, so many great channels at that are offering up information on how to keep and different ideas, husbandry techniques and all these other things that I haven't focused on that at all. It's been interview. If anybody's watched the channel for any length of time, more recently, it's been nothing but interviews, and which I think is where I'm going to keep going with it. Every now and then I think I'll have some informational videos if I have a gap in interviews, but right now there's interviews as far as the eye can see. There's a lot of people out there that need to get on the channel, people that have been on that still have a lot more to offer that I need to bring back on. Philippe de, for example, was somebody I interviewed at this last Pomona session, who's a guy that's read, he's the most, if you guys don't know who Philippe de is, he's probably the most published author in herpetoculture. He's written a plethora of books on all kinds of keeping of reptiles and amphibians, and he's having a conference in the summer of next year that I'm going to go to, and I imagine there's going to be just a wealth of people there that I really need to interview and get their information on video. Probably people who've written books themselves also and are well known in that community. That almost that not the legendary community, but the like the base community, the guys that have been doing it, that were the foundation of keeping in the United States. I imagine those
before the internet, right? Before, yeah.
When these guys are still just calling each other on the phone, and yeah.
Yeah, man, that interview that I had with Philippe, like, it brought back so many memories for me, because I remember as, like a young teenager going, and I loved reptiles. My mom was adamant, though, no snakes in the house whatsoever. And I mean, reptiles, even with mom, were just kind of on the borderline. And so to fulfill what I wanted to learn about, I had to go get books. And Philippe's, man, I had him all over my bedroom. Just different species that he wrote about. The guy is amazing. He's a legend. And yeah.
He's amazing on more levels than I would have imagined. Actually getting to meet and talk to him, like his mindset, like, is just so, I don't want to say wizard, but it's almost like wizard, like kind of where he was coming from. This whole like very well-rounded, universal type of mind, like diving so much deeper into the subject of herpetology than any mind I've ever heard before in my life. I'm really looking forward to speaking with him again at Pomona and getting to, because that was the first time I met him, which is very often what happens on my interviews is I meet somebody 2 seconds before I interview them, which, in fact, when I interviewed Tom Crutchfield at Daytona, I had never met him in person. I'd never spoken a word to the guy. I didn't even know he was going to interview him. He just happened to be at the show. And I was like, hey, I'm going to do an interview. Would you mind coming over and doing this interview? And at first he was like, what is this for? Like, he was kind of like a no at first. I understand that, but I did turn him around a little bit. And we did do a short interview. And I caught a little bit of flack for not asking him questions about his like smuggling past and whatnot. But I didn't even think about that. Like, the video probably would have gotten way more hits if I had like touched on that subject. But when I also like to think I'm somewhat of a, I'm not a jerk 100% of the time. I'm not going to broach these things with people upon my first meeting. So, hey, what about this time when you really just effed up really bad? Can we talk about that? That's how I'd like to.
That's how you start your interviews.
And Crutchfield. And Crutchfield's a legend too, man. I mean, you've really had some major hitters in the history of our industry on your channel, and mad respect to you for getting these guys on camera and kind of pulling them out, because that's one thing I've noticed as I kind of came into the hobby and industry at like a bridging gap point where you had a lot of the old guys still around doing their deal and communicating. And then you had kind of a new school breed coming around, which was looking more to social media and, not really, it was just a different kind of thing going on. Right. And you've really done good at bridging those gaps there, where some of these old school guys, which literally have 20, 30 years of experience under their belt, you're getting to talk to them, and they don't really jump on social media, or they don't jump into any other platform where people can readily like tap their information. You know what I mean? And
half of these recent guys I've had, actually, to your point, abhor social media.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And but it's an important part now, right? Like, and that's kind of the transitional phase I think we're in right now, is like, how do we ignore the bad parts of social media and how do we leverage it for the good parts? Right. And I mean, there's certain Facebook groups out there. There's no way I would want to put any sort of information out to, just because they're very toxic. But there are several really, really good ones out there. Positive Pythons, which you're one of the admins out there. There's some good stuff out there, right? But there's also toxicity that takes place. It's a balance, right? And us, as I think members of this community, need to do our part and making sure it's good information, positive, and not proliferating or pushing out more of the bad stuff. You know what I mean? And yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Those videos are amazing. Crutchfield, I've seen so many videos on him on the internet that just blow my mind what he does. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like, that's
I'm hoping I potentially, I don't want to speak too soon, but potentially I might go hang out there next week at his place. I don't know that I can, but I'm hoping to. We'll see if that happens. That's going to come. We'll find out real quick if that happens or not.
That would be an incredible experience, man. That would be insane.
Yeah, Florida has a lot of people that have been, because it's like a hot place. It's a hub. It's like that's where you can keep reptiles real easily. Keep them all outdoors and whatnot because of the climate. And so there's some incredible stuff there to see that I've not gotten to see at all. I went to Daytona, which is my first time to Florida, and I was at the show basically the whole time. I didn't get to go out and explore any of these croc farms or alligator farms or any of these. There's so many people out there, I think, that keep crazy animals that I'm really hoping to go see some of them next week. We'll see. But yeah, to your other point that you were saying, Adam, yeah, the people that I've had on, the people I'm trying to have on, I've always had a thing in my life since I was a kid, since I was, high school, where people just want to tell me their life stories. People just like, I can't tell you how many times in my life I've had somebody say to me, oh man, I've never told this to anybody, but, and then that's like the beginning. I've heard that sentence, I don't know how many times in my life. Just for some reason, am able to create this little safe space where people feel like they can tell me things they've never told anybody else. And it's a blessing and a curse. I'm trying to focus on I've spoken and had conversations with some of the craziest people you'll ever meet on this earth. And for some reason, they felt that I understood them. And I did, which makes me question my own sanity sometimes. Like, oh, yeah, I get where you're coming from, man. Totally. Even though nobody else in the entire planet seems to understand what it is you're talking about.
Great.
Yeah, well, I got some of them down at the beach. Maybe you can come talk to them for me. No, just joking. That is true about you. I will have to say that the first time I met you, which let's see, I think I had just started watching your channel. I had this inkling just to, verbal diarrhea with you and tell you everything about me. It's just that, like, you really are one of those people that really invites people in, right? And it's one of your special characteristics, man.
And I like to try and do that for other people as well. Like, see what it is somebody else has to offer and find that thing in somebody else. Like, what is this thing inside of you that really, I think, needs to be shown to the world, and let's find that, pull it out, and showcase it. That's a big part of what I like to do on my channel, if possible. It's an art. It's tough. It's an art. It's a mess. Is what it is. It's not an art. Yeah, I just try to make the cleanest mess possible because none of us are perfect. Anybody that has any kind of reasonable sense about them at all will tell you that they're not perfect and nobody else is. And I try to do the best with that imperfection that I can.
Well, hey, Joel, I think we should get to some meatier questions here, and let's really, tap into Kusko's brain.
Okay.
And my beautiful wife Heather is saying there are a few chat questions. So, do we want to jump into ours?
What I'm going to say is we should get the chat going in here too, because
I
hate worse than being on a live stream than being ignored on the chat. God.
I totally agree. All right, babe. So what's our first question up? Heather.
Yes, I'm getting to it. Sorry. It was from Bridget. I'm trying to find them. They were a while ago.
Oh, yeah. Bridget said something from the very beginning. She was asking about pairing.
I'm fine. I'm looking for your questions.
Hold on. Let's see.
What was the full title of the book? The Ark.
I think it's called The Ark. I will look that up real quick, though. Let's see. Yeah, I know.
LKB, I've got one from LKB. I see the comments. I don't plan.
But we should put that in the description.
Like I said, I might be in Florida next week. Maybe. That's about as far ahead as I plan, man. There's no joke. I mean, I like to joke about it, but it's not a joke. 5-year plan? No. 5-day plan, if you're lucky.
I feel you on that for sure.
5-day plan, yeah. I'm at a 2-day plan usually.
All right, here we go. I got Bridget's question. I found it. Okay. So Bridget Bushy was saying, I have a question. This is a good start for me. I have a pied male and a female coral glow pied, and I'm waiting for a black pastel coral glow pied female. That's my start for breeding snakes.
Wait, say that to me one more time. I'm sorry.
So she's asking if this is a good start. And so she has a male pied and a female coral glow pied, and she's also waiting for a black pastel coral glow pied.
Okay.
And she's asking if that's a good start to breeding ball pythons, I'm assuming.
Minus the fact that you have a male, depending on how old these animals you're getting are, minus the fact that you have a male already. Because assuming, coming from the standpoint that you're raising them up from babies, you want to get your females first and raise them up and wait on the male until your females are ready.
So that kind of dovetails into another question. So are you more of a age or weight guy or a combination, or how do you determine when a female's ready?
Feel, a little combo of both. Yeah, age, weight. It's feel. It's a case by case scenario. I've got this hypo. I've got a GHI humblebee up here who is from 2014, and I'm not breeding her yet because of weight. But so it doesn't matter how old she gets until she just for some reason doesn't like to eat that much. You know, she's barely pushing 1,500 grams, and for her age and weight, I haven't paired her with anything, even to try and get her to spur her to eat, because sometimes that works if you put a couple animals together that'll get them eating, which is what happened with my leopard spider girl. I did that a couple times, ended up with a clutch from her that I was not expecting because of that. So, and it turned out to be okay. It was healthy. She laid 4 perfectly healthy eggs, no slugs, and she's healthy and went right back on food, and she's grown like a weed. So that worked for her. But with this GHI hypo female, I don't feel it. It's a case-by-case basis. I don't have any kind of like, okay, this age and this weight. It's literally each snake.
Each snake.
Which is how I prefer that to be treated in the world myself when it comes to life. Like, I don't want to be treated like this person or treated like this type of person. I want to be treated as myself. That's why I can't stand like robotic calls or a lot of government agencies that treat you like a number. I want to be treated as an individual, and so I do the same thing with my snakes.
Yeah, I think that works great, because I think the animals tell you more than you'll ever know. So if you're just paying attention, I think you'll know when the girl's ready and when the males are ready, to be honest.
Totally agree. In the wild, there's no scale, or there's no person that they go check in with that then passes them off and says, "Yep, get out there, young buck, and go do it," or "Get out there, girl." You know what I mean? Like, so the snake decides.
I would like to get. I don't know why I haven't got one of these already. I could have at this point, but a ultrasound just to see if there's follicles or not. That would be a great way to tell if somebody's looking to do that. That seems like a foolproof way. Okay, she's at 15 millimeters with her follicles. Perfect. Let's pair her.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, one of those useful tools. I don't have one either, but
that's a one day.
Yeah, that's a one day. Put that on the checklist for maybe.
So, speaking of breeding, then, are you willing to answer maybe your project that you're super excited for this year that you've either paired or planned to pair? Or something?
Yeah, there's blood python right down here. I've got a joint breeding with my buddy Travis over Living Legless Reptiles. Oh man, there was a lot of people I wanted to shout out. I completely spaced it. Travis lives about 15 miles down the road from me. Living Legless, great guy, keeps a lot of different species, and he's got his male here, a matrix blood, that I've been pairing with my female normal blood, who's beautiful, Sangria, and she ovulated the other night. So I'm really excited about that.
No way! Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, that's super cool. Do they lay how many eggs do they lay? Usually, do you know?
8. Somebody has asked me this question on an interview before when I had Ed over, and Brandon Fowler from Roaming. So shout out Brandon Fowler. Dude does more educational shows in California than anybody else in the state, even more than Brian Gundy, which is crazy because Brian does a bunch of shows, and somehow Brandon just does way more. But he was here and asked me that same question, and I'm giving you the same answer.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, because I have no idea either, if that helps.
8 to 12?
Some. They lay some.
Some. Somewhere between 8 to 12 are going to come out. That's my guess.
Okay, I like where your head's at. Okay, then to segue past that, in ball pythons, do you see any project that you want to get into that you maybe aren't, or you're planning on getting into, or something like that? Is anything that sparked your eye?
I don't have any spot nose in the colony yet, and that's something I'm definitely planning on adding. But I want to add a lot of other things with it in one animal. But spot nose for sure is like the one thing I know is going to be in the next animal I get, regardless of whatever else is in it, is going to be spot nose for sure.
What recessive are you going for with spot nose? All of them now.
My 3 favorite recessives. I have my 3 favorite recessives here now already.
So clown we know, pied.
Sunset.
Is that the third?
That's 3.
That's 3 right there. There you go. Those are 3 top hitters. Bam.
The fun thing, like when I first brought the clown pie at the beginning, there was a point I meant to make there was when I got that snake, I did say that it was all eye. I didn't do any, research, which is as far as morphs and like what's popular, this, that. I just saw the animal. I was like what? And I had been looking at to be fair, I'd been looking at tons and tons of animals online up to that point, but it wasn't based on anything, market wise or anything like that. It was just this clown-pied female. I looked at her, I was like, that snake is the snake I want now.
Yes.
And it just happened that it was a clown-pied. That was secondary to the fact.
Right. Well, clown-pieds are perfect. They're awesome. They're like my favorite thing ever.
Yeah, they're amazing. Especially when you get a nice high pattern like she had, she's 75%, because I like to see that pattern, a little more pattern than not.
Yeah, she's super pretty. She's super pretty. I like her a lot, and they age well too, I feel like.
Yeah, she's got such great contrast. She's a beautiful. She looks very similar to how she did as a hatchling, which is crazy. For I'm gonna just pull out again.
Yeah, do it again. Do it again.
Yeah, not everybody got to see her. Hold on, you got to talk.
Oh, I have to. Oh, okay, so here she is. She got that little Cindy Crawford mole thing down there, and this is just a laptop camera, which is not doing her any justice. But you can see that she's got a lot of. No, it's not. This is not doing her justice. I'm sorry. Go subscribe to Brian Kusko on YouTube, and
right, and you'll see plenty of her there.
Show her in high detail with my macro lens, and yeah, it'll be fantastic.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. I love that snake. That's an awesome snake.
Yeah, fantastic. Hey, we do have a couple other questions coming from chat, and I think
that's a sweet one right there. It's like Ultramon on steroids.
I think so too. Marshall, I'm going to get to yours. We did have one that kind of parlays off what we were saying. And Heather, please, what's the
most unorthodox pairing that you've ever heard or seen?
So did you hear that?
That was from LKB Pythons.
LBK Pythons.
Oh, we've already answered a couple of them. Unorthodox?
Yeah.
Man to man. That's pretty unorthodox.
That's true.
I'm sorry.
It could just be male to male.
Male to male,
yes.
yeah.
I'm
not against it. It's just different. I don't see it that often. I've never seen
in the reptile world, for sure. I think male to male would be very unorthodox. Anybody new out there, you could wind up with one dead reptile if you do that. So please don't.
Avoid that scenario.
Avoid that scenario.
Do you mean unorthodox as far as like maybe like hybrids or something like that, or unorthodox like different conflicting genes, like an xanthic and a pastel? Just be glad. Count your lucky stars that I didn't get my dad's propensity for never ever giving a straight answer.
I love that about your dad on your videos though. He's so awesome because he'll just he looks very serious, right? But he'll deliver this answer where you're like, wait a second. Oh, you got me on that one. Good job, dude.
You gotta hang out with my dad in person sometime, man. It's something else.
I can't wait. All right, one other one. Here's from Marshall, Brian, and this is a good one too. How do you juggle the breeding, YouTube, freedom breeder responsibilities, family, and all of the text and phone calls you get?
I drink a lot. No, I'm just kidding. I actually don't drink a lot, to be fair. Time management? No, I'm not good at that either. I just go by feel. Whatever is happening in the moment. Not a lot of sleep. I sleep whenever it hits me. I don't think, okay, it's time to go to sleep. It just happens. And anybody who's been at a party with me in years past can attest to the fact that I will fall asleep on the floor in the middle of a party. And just be like, okay, it's done. And luckily, I'm smart enough to take my shoes off when I go inside of a house.
That is not the rule.
Where I come from. It ain't good if you do.
Must be the Filipino side in you.
With that Hawaiian influence for sure. You don't
Hawaiian also. Yeah, same thing over there.
You always want to slip it, so you just flop them off. It's not a big deal to take your shoes off.
That was a good one. Yeah, because I was kind of wondering the same thing, man. Because you edit your videos like a professional, and so I mean, how did you learn that? Was that just something you picked up, or
just doing it? I enjoyed doing it, so I just did it. That's the best way to do anything, in my opinion. Is if you want to learn to do something, just do it, and do it, and do it again, and do it until you can't do it anymore. That's the best way to learn anything, man. Experience, just do it. I didn't take any video.
Oh no!
What?
Wait, we lost you for a quick second. You said you didn't take any, and then it broke up.
I took no classes on video editing whatsoever. I've watched videos on YouTube on some different techniques and what to do, but just by doing it, try something. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I go back and watch some of my other videos and go, why did I do that? And the reason I do, I think now thinking about it, is to do it and see if it works or not. And if it doesn't work, don't do it again.
Absolutely, yeah. That's I completely agree with that. I like just getting my hands dirty and diving in, and that's where you see the progress, though. I mean, it's because editing is.
You might not realize is that I put out no less than 5 videos a week.
That's your
goal. On the channel, but because between the Freedom Breeder channel, the Triple B TV channel, and that's not counting like the little trailers I put up for Patreon or Instagram or other little things I do sometimes, but 5 solid YouTube episodes a week, with some of them, the editing taking a long time. Anyway, I was trying to impress you.
Oh yeah, that's a substantial amount of work, because I'm trying to do 2 or 3 a week right now, and my editing is nowhere near yours.
School too, though, yeah, right? You're doing school full time, basically.
Yeah. So but I'm not doing anything right now. That starts again in January 7th. So right now I'm just winging it.
Gotcha. The one person I will say, dude, Brian, dude, just like that is one guy. I've never met somebody with so much energy in my life. That guy puts out on top of the videos, because I mean he doesn't have young children is the one thing that I will cut against him. But I wouldn't be surprised if he could do it when he did, because the guy has more energy than anybody I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, well, he has to with the level of output he's at.
Yeah, pretty insane. Ooh, one other person I really wanted to make sure I shouted out before I get at it, before anything. I don't know how long you guys want to go. I can go all night. But Anthony at Granddaddy Herps was the very first person to comment on my very first YouTube channel. And he welcomed me in warm-heartedly, and that was my intro to YouTube. Response on YouTube was from Anthony.
Yeah.
And his response was like, he's just like, welcome to the YouTube life, man. And it just felt the way it rolled off the page. I was just like, oh, sweet, thanks, man. And that was, so I want to give a shout out to him, because he's the guy that welcomed me into this YouTube world.
Yeah, he has a great channel. I've watched like all of his videos.
Yeah, him with Barchek actually, were some of the very first that I found on YouTube that I just kind of gravitated towards. So totally big shout out to Granddaddy. That is for sure, man.
Yeah.
Hey, so roping us back into a few more chat questions here. We got William Filippic, who we happened to interview the previous week. If anybody hasn't watched it, it's up on Joel's channel. So Will's got a question that's dealing with some breeding questions and some future of certain morphs questions. So, kind of market. So here we go. This is from William. What is your thoughts on the future of the sunset? I love the project, but gets a lot of hate because of the color. I think line breeding will help tremendously, but what are your thoughts, Brian?
Well, I think that can be said of just about any project, because everything's not for everybody. And I mean, there's a couple reasons probably why it gets hate. A, Barchek brought it in. It's his project. That's one obvious reason for something to get hate. Also, it does, I have seen many examples where it does brown out. To be fair, that happens with a lot of morphs, but just like with anything, it takes time. What I think is positive about it is that it is recessive. And I think a lot of the hate it gets is that it's maintained its value longer than a lot of traits do. these days in this current market. It's still up there, and people that maybe want to get into it and have been waiting for it to fall to get into it, and it hasn't fallen yet to where they can get into it, which is I think another spot where the hate comes in on it. And just with anything, with whatever you're breeding, there's finding those right combinations. They're gonna.
Absolutely, here it is. Yes, this is what I was waiting for. I was waiting for you to go get it.
Sorry, I moved it to a closer tub so I wouldn't have to go running around to find it. Now I don't remember which tub I threw it into. So
that's way better. This is it. This is what the people want to see. Everybody wants to see you just kind of run around.
I put it inside one of these tubs, I swear.
He had it out earlier, and then, he put it where he wouldn't lose it. So
there it is. For a minute, I was like, did I actually leave it open? Did I actually leave it out somewhere loose in my snake room?
It's happened to me before.
This room is sealed. You cannot get out. A snake cannot get out of this room. I did that on purpose. But no, she didn't escape. She's right here. This, I think, to date, is the combo that this is a cinnamon Enchi sunset. And this is, I think, going to, again, the camera on the laptop is not going to do it the justice I think she deserves. That being said, I mean, it's just finding the right combo to plug into something that's going to really bring out what it has to offer, which Sunset has a ton to offer, which is why I think it's still the fact that it's recessive and the fact that it does have a lot to offer is the reason it has not fallen as fast as maybe people want it to. Because it's a powerful trait. It changes not only the color drastically, it offers more red than just about any other red and orange hues than any other thing out there right now. I mean, I've seen the mandarins and some other stuff like that, but those don't really touch the amount of red and orange I think that the Sunset has to offer. And also the pattern change. It almost has like a GHI effect on the pattern.
Absolutely. The pattern is a huge manipulator on that I feel like gets overshadowed by its color. The pattern is so crazy on those.
The name, the Sunset, is all about the color when you're explaining, the name. But the pattern, so that, if you know what a cinnamon Enchi looks like without Sunset, you can see that the pattern is drastically, it has a GHI type of effect. And GHI
right.
So that adding the red and orange palette, that is kind of like what a lot of people seek when they're looking to make ball pythons. I think a lot of people are after that deep orange, that deep red color. It offers that as well as a huge pattern chain.
I like that snake a lot. And what I like most about that snake is it doesn't take away from what Sunset is. Like some of the combos that I've seen I feel like overshadow like what Sunset is. And I love that like rust, dark kind of ambers and reds that Sunset has. That's like my favorite thing about it.
Yeah. I hope I answered that question. I really rambled there.
Yeah, GHI Sunsets, Family Jewels. That's going to be a great looking animal.
Family Jewels. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
So I just heard that Mrs. BeachBum put John Feely on timeout. Maybe we can hear the reason why he got put on timeout.
I'm sure he earned it, whatever it was.
He earned it.
Oh, I guarantee you earned it.
Everybody can read it in chat, but I was saving his questions to the end because he was on timeout.
You gotta get on
camera. No, I don't want to get on camera.
Hey, Adam, you need to come. Both of you guys need to come here and hang out in person.
Yes, we definitely do. I'm totally down. We do. Yeah.
All right. So his first question was, what was the dream interview?
Oh, okay. That's a great question, Brian. What was like your dream interview, if you've even accomplished it or haven't or whatever? Yeah.
Easy. Well, there was two, to be fair, and I've done both of them so far. One was Brian, because Brian was a huge part of my getting into YouTube and big inspiration for me in getting into making videos on YouTube, snake related. So he was a big one. I have interviewed him at the shop. It hasn't aired yet, but I did interview him. But he's also become a good friend, so it's less of a dream thing at this point. It's more he's a friend. But the first one I thought of was Philippe de Vaugelay. was a dream before it happened, and it still feels like a dream after the fact. Like literally feels like it was a dream being in his presence and talking about the way we talked and the things that he said to me in the moment, like while the camera was rolling and while the camera was off. It was just this like total, almost an out of body experience. Just the vibe this guy has, the way his mind works in this whole thing is just. I want to keep it PG-13. I don't know how many kids we got here. It's good. It was amazing. It was amazing. He transported me to another world while we were talking, and I got very emotional with him while I was there. There's some pictures somebody was taking. Riley Jimison, also another good channel. Carpets with Coffee on Sunday mornings.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he was there. He took some pictures for me while I was doing the interview, and I look at some of those pictures. He took like 75 pictures, and I look at him and I can see how I was feeling in the moment. And it takes me back to that feeling. It's like, Philippe de Vaugelas, dream interview. Past,
awesome.
Present.
Yeah.
I like that.
He was great.
Yeah.
All right. Does Mr. Feely have any other questions now that he's off of timeout?
Yes. What are your thoughts on hybrids?
This is a good one. You know, and we asked William in the last interview. What are your thoughts on hybrids?
My personal thoughts are, I don't think about it too much. You know, I think some of the combos I've seen, you know, visually appealing wise, I've seen some stuff that looks pretty cool. You know, like the blood python, ball python stuff, or the. Yeah. I think that as long as you're not crossing species that have wildly different husbandry requirements, then I'm not against it. I'm a fairly open-minded person where most things are considered, but yeah, as long as you're not like crossing, I don't know, like a central, like a Bredli carpet python with a ball python, I think would be something to maybe stay away from. But
yeah, I don't know if we've seen any of that, right? Like the carpet and the ball stuff, or maybe have we? I don't know. What is that called?
I think there are carp balls out there or something. I don't know if they're Australian carpet python, ball python.
Yeah.
That is one I would even though they're both pythons, I would probably try to stay away from just because I think their husbandry requirements are so different.
So drastic. What's that? Carpet burn, Heather says this way.
You also got to take into account that I am a hybrid myself. You know, maybe not species wise. Maybe I'm stretching a little bit there, but I do come from one very Caucasian heritage and one very not Caucasian heritage, and so I've got an open mind where crossing.
Yeah, we're crossing.
No, but I don't. To me, I don't get caught up in a lot of things that are controversial, you know, because I can see the good side to both of them, you know.
Yeah.
I can see why somebody would be adamantly against any kind of hybridization of species, and I can also see why somebody would be, you know, attracted to doing something like that. I can see both sides of it as clear as day, and why somebody, you know, and I can understand why either person would enjoy or be against it, and see the validity and the reasons behind it.
Yeah. That's because you understand what empathy is, and you can relate to everybody, and that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think specifically with the hybrids, right? I love how they look, like is what you were kind of saying, you know what I mean? Visual aspects of them, amazing, very good. I think what a lot of people have a fear about is the ethics involved with it, because down the line, you know, by the sixth owner of either offspring or original animal, you know, things change, right? And it's one of the problems that we have with localities of species today as well is, I mean, we really only know the port they're leaving from. We don't really know the square footage of where that animal came from, right? And so. And
to tie back to something we were talking about earlier, the whole scientific side of the community, the folks that think that there should be no breeding happening at all, that all this left in the wild, and, you know, maybe some in captivity for observation purposes, but definitely not for breeding purposes. There's that whole side of the snake enthusiast, you know, world, the reptile enthusiast world, and I understand where they're coming from too. You know, there's valid reasons that you can. I'm of the belief that you can piece together facts about anything and create a good, solid argument for why that is,
or why not. Right? Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
And that's why sometimes people like I know there's people out there that feel like they disagree with me, and they do. We do disagree on some points, but the thing is, I've had this conversation with my cousin. You know, it's like other family members I can really get deep on this conversation with. Is that I can argue either side of any argument and be on either side of any argument. I'm very universal in that way. I can be like, no, I'm against this, or no, I'm against that, and I can give reasons why. So whenever I'm talking to somebody, especially in person, I love to do this in person, is we're having a conversation about any topic. I like to give the points of the other side of whatever that other person is talking about. If they're on this side of the argument, I get on the other side to just get points that are possible and be like kind of the devil's advocate, or just push buttons, or just have fun with it. I do it with Hillary all the time. She hates it.
I think a lawyer. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Joel, you're ready for that, right?
I do all the time. That's my favorite. My favorite thing to do is to argue something I don't believe in. That's like, I love that. That's good, because it teaches you empathy, though. I critically think usually about every situation now. You know, where is that guy coming from? How does she really feel right now? I mean, what is it? You know, I don't know. And it teaches me to think outside of my own thoughts, and I love it. It's really cool.
That's the most important thing, right? And in all of life, I mean, reptiles, not even particularly talking right now. To me, it's always about kind of putting yourself in the other person's shoes, or thinking about it from a perspective that doesn't immediately become natural to you, is really beneficial, right? And it really helps you understand people, or, you know, and just, I don't know, that's just my experience with life, I guess, right? Anytime that I like try and zero in and be like, no, this is the only way it is, I always get burned, right? And so I've really, you know, and one of my personalities is just kind of like that. Like, if I know something, I'm like, no, this is the way it is. Listen to me, right? And it's more important just to step back, say your piece, but listen, right? And, yeah. So.
Well, I did a lot of listening growing up. People don't know this about me. I'm going to make a video at some point talking about this, maybe. I was very introverted as a kid, and as an adult too, into my 20s, where I was not social events. No, talking to people, no. But I did do a lot of listening to my good friends and other people. I would not say a word an entire evening, multiple weeks in a row, and just listen to what people were saying. And I'm making up for it now. I got stuff to say, people.
Yes.
I like it. There we go. You are.
And Heather was saying we have a few other questions. Oh, sorry, Joel. Did you have something?
Do the rapid fire, and then we could
go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got these 5 just lightning round answers for you.
Oh, hate these.
Yeah. So really put on your thinking hat. Okay. Are you ready? Because it's really serious. Are you ready? What's happening?
He took off the thinking cap.
Okay, he took it off. Okay. All right. All right. So, what's your favorite color?
Blue. No.
God, you already screwed up. You already screwed it up.
You missed the reference. Where's Kaufman at? Kaufman will get it.
Okay, so jeans. Okay, so pants. Wearing pants. Button or zipper? Zipper.
Careful.
I knew I was wearing underwear.
We already talked about weenies on YouTube. You know, we gotta be very.
Let me put my cap back on. Hold on a second. I'm ready now.
All right.
Okay, yeah. So the cap's back on. Things got a little less serious. Okay, favorite childhood movie.
Ooh, damn! Never-ending Story was the first one that jumped in my head, so I'm gonna roll with it.
Okay, yeah.
Nice.
Great. That's great. I like that.
A good one.
Favorite thing to eat.
Lasagna.
Nice.
Beautiful choice. Beautiful.
Only because manicotti is never readily available in most situations.
Okay.
You pulled out the manicotti.
Okay. Fair. I like that you went there. Okay. Any superpower?
Ooh, fly.
Okay. Fly. Why fly?
Because I've done it in dreams and it's amazing. I'd love to do it in reality.
What is real? That's the question.
That's that's very open to interpretation.
True. According to Elon Musk, you really did that. That was your reality.
That's what I'm
in
saying.
your dream.
Yeah.
I have had a dream. I don't know if you have more questions, but I'm going to stop your live.
You're done. You're done lightning round. Now we're just
There's been a dream or two that I knew I was dreaming, where I was asleep, I was dreaming, and they call it a lucid dream. I've actually had one where I knew I was dreaming. It was so lame. It was one of the lamest dreams I've ever had. But I knew I was dreaming. Because I figured out I was around my grandma's house, and I was like, I'm dreaming right now. Like, I'm in a dream. I'm asleep. I'm dreaming. And I was so excited. I was like, what am I going to do? What can I do? I can do anything I want. I'm in a dream. What am I doing? I'm like running around. I climb up on top of my grandma's roof, and I'm looking around like, where the hell is everybody? Like, and I'm standing up on the roof. And I'm like, I'm in a dream. I got to do something. And then that was it.
You were done. You were done. You lost. That's still pretty cool. Not a lot of people even get to do that. So you got to.
I have one other experience like that where I was dreaming and sleeping, and I knew it, and I knew where I was in reality and in the dream at the same time. And it was also my grandma's house, strangely enough. But I was asleep at work. And I put my head down on I was in a lunchroom, to be fair. Put my head down on the lunchroom table, took a little lunchtime nap, and fell asleep. And in my dream, I was in my grandparents' house, and my sister was cutting my grandfather's hair, which was something that happened regularly. And I was in the kitchen, and I put my head down on the stove, on the burner. It wasn't on, but it was still the burner. Not a safe place to lay your head necessarily. And I laying there on the burner in the kitchen, in my grandma's kitchen, in the dream. And while I'm dreaming, I'm like, I'm actually in the break room, and I'm dreaming that I'm at my grandma's house in the kitchen with my head on the burner. It's weird.
Yeah, these are some winners, man. I like it.
I feel like we the comment section. I'm going against my own grain here, and I'm ignoring the comment section completely, which I hate.
I know, that's one thing I've noticed. We got to get better at that, Joel, is incorporating chat, because I kind of do the same thing. But Heather's here, and actually we have had somebody that have asked, oh, nice one, Firestone. Yeah, buddy. Very nice.
My wife does work at Firestone, 50% off. Don't hit me up.
Don't hit me up. Actually, anyhow. So we've had a question 3 times in a row, and Heather, I will allow you to read this question. I want to get it answered.
All right. So Bridget is asking if you can kill a female's eggs. She says that she's heard that you can kill a female's eggs.
Could we ask her to expand a little more on that? Like, does she mean purposely killing?
Killed 2 cups of this, like real.
I think it's probably not on purpose. She's probably referring to reabsorption. Is my guess.
Okay.
I don't think that you really want to purposely kill the eggs.
That's a good
question.
Yeah. So I'm saying, so this is the way I'm interpreting the question is there anything, I guess, through husbandry or after they come out that if you did this, the eggs would not survive, they would die?
Sure, there's plenty of things you could do to kill an egg.
Right.
I mean, I'm thinking back to a particular elementary school science experiment where we had to drop an egg off of a roof and see if we could get it to not crack.
That one's good, actually. My first 3 eggs did not survive. The 4th one did, though. I learned.
You learned how not to kill an egg, yeah.
Yeah, lots of ways to kill an egg, I think. I don't know. I wonder if Bridget's still in here, if she could expand upon that question.
Are we getting any responses from Bridget so far?
I haven't seen
so
she might be gone now.
15-second. I know. She asked 3 times and we didn't deliver on that.
A way to
Bridget, if you watch this stream back, Bridget, I will have an in-depth. I will give you this sticker, and I will also have an in-depth conversation with you about your question. If you want to get I'm very, very easy to get a hold of via the internet and YouTube and all the other platforms out here. So if you want, this is your sticker, Bridget, if you watch this back, and I'll answer your question in a form of conversation.
There we go.
Right there.
Oh, she is still here, Heather says.
Bridget, reach out to me. This is your sticker, and we'll have a full conversation.
No, I mean a female's. Bridget, I'm sorry, we're still not quite understanding the question.
Bridget,
You mean like while she has
Bridget,
the eggs inside or after she's laid them?
there's so many things that can cause an egg to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be temperature problems, humidity issues.
This is your sticker. Simply because you asked for it.
And some people, maybe the question's around maternal incubation, and this is maybe a quick question. I know we're about 15 minutes over what we normally do, but Brian, have you ever thought about maternal incubation with your clutches?
Python, but then I ran it by Travis, and he said that he didn't like the idea, and since he's half in on this pairing, I succumbed to his fears about doing the maternal incubation versus artificial. But yes, I have thought about it. I was actually going to do it with the blood python until Travis said that he wasn't comfortable with it, which is fine. In his experience, there are more problems that can occur with the maternal incubation versus the artificial. So I respected that.
Yeah, definitely. And so Bridget did respond in the comments, and so I'm kind of zeroing in a little bit more. I'm wondering, Bridget, are you asking about like reabsorption of follicles or something like that? Like, how do you prep your female prior to breeding?
If you see that she's ovulating, is there a way is there anything wrong that you can do that she's ovulated and now she's not? Like, you're going to ruin breeding.
Okay. Yeah, well, like Brian said, Annie's throwing out a sticker there, and I offer the same open door policy here. I've got an open door policy on all of my social media platforms. Anybody's welcome to hit me up. I'll have a conversation with you over the phone or through text. I know Brian would probably do the same. Joel, I'm going to volunteer you as well. I know all three of us on here would do that with anybody that's got a question that's going on that we're not answering right now fully to what the question is.
Yeah, there's a lot of resources to get a hold of us if we skip somebody, so that should always be known, I guess.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it gets too hot, I mean, you might have some reabsorption issues, maybe something like that. I don't know. I mean, for the most part, I think at that point, if everything's going right, it's up to her. I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, females will choose. I mean, I've had a lot of females that I could swear would go, and then at the last second, all of a sudden, no eggs, right? And you know that you've documented a pre-lay shed, but no eggs. So, yeah.
Here she goes.
The first person to tell me the name of this snake gets the last sticker I got tonight.
Oh my gosh!
Not you guys.
Dang it!
Wait.
just her name. This is the last sticker I have, but it's Randallin gets her.
Yep.
Oh man. So wait, who got that one? Who was the first one?
Lindsay, the first person I saw.
Brandolin, yeah.
Brandolin. Yeah, I saw her commenting earlier.
And she does have a sticker. Awesome. She doesn't have a big one yet, so there you go.
All right, well, I guess, we're kind of over our limit here. How
dare you?
Round it out. What'd you say to me?
Stealing these good people's time. This is time they didn't sign up for.
You're mean. You're a thief right now.
No, it's not my show.
No, it isn't. You're right. So I just need to shut you down. Yeah.
All right, bye guys.
Cut off. Running away.
Running away, eh? You yellow. The Black Knights always triumph.
All right, hold on. Before we get going, Brian, one snake that you have right now.
You guys got that reference, did you? Who's coughing when you need them?
I'm out.
Brian, give us one snake you want to pull out of your collection right now before we sign off that you want to show everybody.
And talk when you get right to the mic so it switches to you.
Patternless female scrub python. She's going into shed right now, so that's unfortunate, but she is a gorgeous snake. One of my favorites because they're just so athletic and so cool. And I've got this running joke. It's an inside joke with myself. I'm going to let people in on it right now, but probably nobody that cares about it is going to hear it. I make this horrible joke that I'm trying to work morphs into scrub pythons. And I don't really say how I'm trying to do that. I just say it as a joke.
Right.
But I do say it, and it is a joke. Sorry. But I'm pretty sure that people out there that take me seriously and they're like, who is this guy? What is wrong with this guy? This guy is an idiot. And I can hear people thinking it's funny.
Let the hate mail fly right now, please.
Look at how athletic these snakes are, man. They're so amazing.
Dude, yeah, wow, that's a big snake too. That's long.
Wow.
She heard the boys up there. She said, maybe I don't want to go up there.
That seems sketchy.
And she is really, really cool. The male that I have is not quite as docile. They weren't either docile to start with, but she has become like I can pet her on the head. Even she's in shed too right now, but I can still pet her on the head, and like she's so cool. So
yeah, look at that. She's not head shy at all. That's amazing.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you work with your animals a lot too.
Yeah, which is another topic. One of the many topics you can talk about with people is like, do you handle your animals? Do you pet your? No, I don't. People take pride in the fact that they don't ever work with their animals. They just take them out for cleaning, and that's it. And that's like, and there's a valid point to that side. Okay, I'm not gonna. We can make this interview go on forever.
Yeah,
I get it.
Well, I just thank you for showing that that snake there, Brian. I mean, dude, that was an awesome way to end it. And I know this will not be our last interview with you. We're gonna break the the mold here, and we will have you on again for sure, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you everybody for coming.
You guys know I love you guys. I love hanging out with you guys in person and over the internet. So I look forward to you guys being able to come to my place and me being able to do the same for yours. So
absolutely,
dude, 100%. I'm gonna hit you up after this, Brian. We'll put some dates on the calendar for sure.
Sounds good, man.
All right, brother.
Everybody showing up. Check out the description; has everybody's links in it, and give everybody a sub. Not already. And until next time, see everybody later.
We all got to do the Joel thing.
Yeah.
Y'all take care.
See ya.